The story opens inside a dim, fluorescent-lit military briefing room. Maps spread across the table. Soldiers leaning in, tension coiled like a spring. Captain Mitchell stands at the head, jaw tight, delivering bad news. Their demolition specialist is down. The convoy route is compromised and the clock is ticking. "Hey, buddy, it's Mr. Bryan's tale again." The briefing room hums with nervous energy. Captain Aaron Mitchell stands at the head of the table, hands flat against a spread of tactical maps, his face carved with the kind of stress that doesn't wash off. Around him sit Private Jackson Reed, Specialist Maria Gonzalez, Sergeant First Class Derek Moore, and Petty Officer Chris Parker, all in gear, all listening. The news is bad. Their primary convoy route has been flagged. Suspected IED placement along 3 kilometers of road. Their demolition specialist, Corporal Haynes, took shrapnel 2 days ago. He's not coming back. Mitchell doesn't dress it up. We need someone who can clear that road. Who here has EOD experience? Silence. Reed shifts in his seat. Gonzalez looks at Moore. Parker stares at the map like it owes him money. No one raises a hand. And standing at the back of the room, right where the fluorescent light flickers and the shadows pool, is James Rivera. He's in a faded blue coverall, a red mop bucket in one hand, a rag draped over his shoulder. He's been there the whole time. Nobody noticed. Rivera listens. His expression doesn't change. His eyes move to the map just for a second, and something flickers behind them. Recognition. The kind that comes from having done this exact math before. Distances. Trigger radii. Blast patterns. He sets the mop bucket down, quietly, the way he does everything. Then he raises his hand. The room turns. Every pair of eyes lands on the janitor. Jackson Reed almost laughs. Almost. Captain Mitchell looks at Rivera for a long, hard beat. "Rivera, you're telling me you know explosives." Rivera doesn't flinch. "Yes, sir." The silence that follows isn't awkward. It's stunned. Sergeant Moore is the first to speak, and it comes out flat. The janitor. Not a question. A statement of disbelief. Rivera doesn't elaborate. He doesn't defend himself. He just stands there, calm, still, the way a man looks when he's already made peace with something the rest of the room hasn't caught up to yet. Captain Mitchell studies him. There's something in Rivera's posture that doesn't fit the coverall, a stillness that soldiers recognize even when they can't name it. The way he holds his weight, the way his hands hang loose but ready. Mitchell has seen that look in EOD texts before. Men who stare down death so many times the adrenaline stopped being fear and turned into focus. "Pull his file," Mitchell says to Parker. Parker comes back 3 minutes later with a thin folder. He reads it aloud, and the room goes quiet again, differently this time. James Rivera, former Army, 12 years of service, explosive ordnance disposal, 3 tours for commendations, and a Silver Star buried under civilian name change. He left the service after an incident that the file describes in clipped, careful language. The kind of language that means something went very wrong. Gonzalez is the one who breaks it. He's been mopping our floors for 8 months. 8 months. And nobody thought to ask. Nobody answers, because the answer is ugly. They never looked. Rivera hasn't moved. He's still standing at the edge of the room, hands at his sides, watching Mitchell weigh the decision. Mitchell looks at the map, looks at the clock, looks back at Rivera. "Get suited up. You're running point." Rivera nods once and picks up his mop bucket. The convoy stages at 0200. The air is cold and sharp, the kind that bites through gear and reminds you that the desert doesn't care about your rank or your reputation. Rivera moves to the pre-mission prep like water. Quiet, purposeful, invisible even now. He checks the EOD kit with hands that don't shake. Rodriguez watches him from across the staging area, arms crossed, still half convinced this is some kind of joke. It isn't. Mitchell briefs the team won last time. The route is 3 clicks. 3 IEDs confirmed, possibly a 4th. Rivera will sweep on foot. The convoy holds position until he clears the signal. If he finds something he can't handle, they abort. "Rivera," Mitchell's voice is steady. "You good?" Rivera pulls on his gloves, slow, deliberate. "I've done this before, Captain." And the way he says it, not cocky, not dramatic, just true, settles something in the room that no amount of training could. They roll out. The first kilometer passes in silence. Rivera walks ahead of the convoy, a handheld detector in one hand, his eyes reading the ground the way a reader scans a page, line by line. Nothing skipped. The team watches him from the vehicles. Reed, who'd been the loudest skeptic in the briefing room, hasn't said a word since they left the wire. At the 1,200-meter mark, Rivera stops. He holds up a fist, the universal signal. "Stop. Don't move." The convoy freezes. Rivera crouches, lowers the detector, reaches into his kit with one hand, steady as stone. He's found something. He doesn't look back at the team. He doesn't need to. He already knows what it is. The IED is buried shallow. 6 inches of packed earth and a pressure plate wired to a detonator. Rivera doesn't touch it yet. He circles it twice, reading the ground around it, checking for secondary triggers, tripwires, anything that would make this a trap inside a trap. There's nothing. It's clean. Brutal, but clean. He radios back, voice flat. IED confirmed. Pressure activated. Clearing now. Moore is on comms from the lead vehicle, his tone tight. Copy. How long? Rivera doesn't answer with a time. He answers with silence, and then he goes to work. From the convoy, all they can see is a man on his knees in the dark, moving with precision that borders on ritual. Cut the wire. Isolate the detonator. Neutralize the charge. Each step is its own decision tree, and one wrong branch ends everything. Gonzalez watches through binoculars, her breath held without her realizing it. Beside her, Parker mutters something under his breath. A prayer, maybe, or a curse. It's hard to tell in the dark. 7 minutes. That's how long it takes Rivera to disarm the first device. 7 minutes where the entire convoy exists on the edge of a single wire. He stands. Radios again. First device clear. Moving. Mitchell exhales, quietly, so no one hears. Rivera doesn't look back. He steps past a neutralized bomb like it's a puddle on the sidewalk and keeps walking. The detector is back in his hand. His pace hasn't changed. His breathing hasn't changed. Reed watches him from the turret and feels something he hasn't felt in a long time. He doesn't have a word for it yet. They're halfway through the second kilometer when the firefight starts. It comes from the East Ridge, automatic weapons, sharp and sudden, lighting the dark in stuttering flashes. The convoy ducks into cover instantly. Mitchell is calling orders before the echo fades. Moore has his saw up and is returning fire. Parker drops behind the lead vehicle, rifle up, scanning. But Rivera is still out front, alone, between the convoy and the kill zone. He doesn't run back. He drops flat, fast, trained, instinctive, and crawls. Not toward the convoy. Toward the second IED, he flagged 30 seconds before the shooting started. Because he knows what the enemy knows. If that device goes off while the team is pinned down, it's over. The firefight is loud. Rounds kick up dirt 2 feet from his head. He doesn't flinch. He reaches a device, works by touch now, muscle memory deeper than thought, and begins to disarm it while bullets trace lines in the earth around him. Gonzalez sees him from the convoy. She keys the radio. Rivera is still forward. He's clearing the second device under fire. Mitchell doesn't hesitate. Let him work. Keep that ridge suppressed. Moore and Reed pour fire into the ridge. The enemy pulls back, not defeated, repositioning, but buys time. Seconds, maybe a minute. Rivera finishes the second device. He radios, voice unchanged. Second device clear. He's breathing harder now. The first sign all night that any of this is costing him anything. But he's already moving again, crawling forward through the dark, because there's still one more device between this convoy and the end of the road. And he's not stopping. The third device is the worst one. Deeper, better concealed, while a remote detonator that Rivera has to trace back to a relay point 40 meters off the road. He finds it, disables it, and by the time he radios the all clear, the convoy has been holding position for 22 minutes in the dark, waiting on one man. The convoy moves. The route is clear. They reach the objective without another shot fired. Back at the FOB, The debrief is quieter than usual. Mitchell stands at the front. Same room, same flickering light, same maps. But the energy is different. The soldiers sit with the kind of silence that comes after something real has happened, not excitement. Wait. Mitchell reads the after-action report aloud. 3 IEDs neutralized. 0 casualties. Mission successful. Then he looks up directly at Rivera, who is standing at the back of the room again. Same spot, same coverall, but no mop bucket this time. Rivera, sir. Mitchell holds his gaze. You did good work tonight. It's not a ceremony. It's not a speech. It's one soldier acknowledging another. And Rivera accepts it the same way he accepts everything, with a nod. Gonzalez is the first to approach him afterward. She doesn't say much. Just, why'd you come back? After everything, why'd you stay here, mopping floors? Rivera considers this for a moment. Then he shrugs, a small, tired gesture. Someone had to keep the floors clean. He picks up his mop bucket from the corner, where he left it, and walks out of the briefing room. The soldiers watch him go. And this time, for the first time, they actually see him. And that, right there, that moment when James Rivera picked up his mop bucket and walked back into the shadows. That's the part that stays with you. Because the world is full of people like him. Quiet, overlooked, invisible. Not because they have nothing to offer, but because nobody ever bothered to ask. Rivera didn't need the applause. He didn't need the recognition. He just needed one moment, one question, to show everyone exactly who he really was. And when it mattered most, he didn't hesitate. Not for a second. That's not bravery. That's character. So here's what I want to know, and I want you to think about this one. Have you ever been underestimated by someone, and then prove them completely wrong? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one. And if this story hit you the way it hit me, if Rivera's moment gave you chills, if you felt that shift when the room finally saw him, then you already know what to do. Hit that subscribe button. Join the Mr. Bryan Tales family. Because stories like this is just the beginning. I've got more coming. And trust me, the next one might just hit even harder. And before you go, one more question for you. Who do you think is the real hero of this story? Rivera or Captain Mitchell for being brave enough to trust him? Let me know. I'll see you in the next one.